So, let's kick things off with a question that might sound, well, a little bit absurd at first, but stick with me, because it gets right to the heart of a massive philosophical debate. If reality is strictly just a projection of your consciousness, like so many popular spiritual teachings claim these days, then did you project that dog poop you just stepped on? Right? It sounds funny, but this super grounded analogy really challenges one of the most widely accepted spiritual absolutes out there right now. Are you literally the sole architect of every single thing you encounter? Or is there a much bigger picture we're missing?
Today, we're doing an explainer on a truly fascinating perspective. All the concepts, arguments, and audio visuals we're exploring come straight from Xu Feng, the founder of Life Chen Yuan. Specifically, we're diving into his essay, Brief Analysis of Reality is a Projection of Consciousness. It's a totally accessible, deep dive into exactly where modern spiritual philosophy hits the nail on the head and where it can go terribly, dangerously wrong.
To make sense of all this, we're going to break it down into 5 clear steps. We'll look at the connection between reality and consciousness, the positive significance this has in personal cultivation, the trap of pure idealism, the difference between the individual and the collective, and finally, the two-way interaction between consciousness and reality.
All right, jumping right into section 1, the connection between reality and consciousness.
So, a lot of spiritual teachings define reality as a direct projection. The big idea here is that everything out there in the universe reflects a higher consciousness, and for you personally, it means the reality you face every day is a creation of your own mind. We're talking your family, your social status, your friends, your bank account, the whole shebang. The logic is basically, if it doesn't exist inside your consciousness, it can't exist in your reality. You are the sole creator of your immediate world.
Moving on to section 2, the positive significance in cultivation.
Now, there's a very good reason this concept resonates with so many of us. It is incredibly empowering. Instead of just sitting around complaining about our external circumstances or feeling like helpless victims, this philosophy pushes us to look inward. Think about it. If you're walking around with a chaotic, jealous, or hateful consciousness, you're pretty much guaranteed to project and build a chaotic future for yourself. But if you do the hard work to cultivate a beautiful, peaceful inner state, you pave the way for a beautiful future. It's a powerful reminder that if we want to fix our outer reality, we've got to start by perfecting our inner minds.
But here is where things get a bit tricky. Section 3, the trap of pure idealism. Xu Feng highlights a massive trap here by quoting a text called Gui Yankao. The extreme interpretation goes like this. If you witness jealousy, cruelty, or ugliness in the world, it's strictly because you have those exact traits hiding inside yourself. The external world is just a mirror, right? But under this logic, if you see someone doing something objectively awful, you aren't actually witnessing an external truth. You're just projecting your own terribleness onto them. Do you see what happens there? It weaponizes the philosophy. It ends up blaming the observer for objective evils out in the world.
So we really have to stop and ask ourselves the big question. Is that right? Is absolutely every bad thing you observe just a reflection of your own inner darkness?
Well, Xu Feng gives us a definitive, of course not. Using this tool to criticize, nitpick, and attack other people turns a genuinely great method for self-reflection into purely toxic idealism. It literally shatters the boundaries of basic logic and reality.
Which brings us to section 4, the individual versus collective difference. Here's the fundamental flaw in that pure idealist argument. It's a matter of scale. Yes, reality as a projection of consciousness is a true statement, but that does not mean all objective reality is your personal isolated projection. Objective reality is the combined, shared projection of a vast collective. We are talking about the collective consciousness of countless humans from the past, the present, and the future, along with higher entities like angels and gods. You aren't the sole projector. You're more like one tiny pixel on a massive shared projection screen.
To put this into perspective, just look around the room right now. Computers, televisions, mobile phones, cars, airplanes, the roads outside, these things are absolutely undeniably real. But they didn't just magically pop into existence because you, individually, happened to think of them this morning. No way! They are physical manifestations of the collective consciousness. They reflect the shared effort, the design, and the continuous minds of millions of other people across generations.
If we actually take the pure individual projection theory to its absolute extreme, the whole thing just falls apart into logical absurdity. Think about it for a second. If absolutely all reality was just a projection originating from your single brain, then your parents couldn't actually be your parents. They would have to be your children because your mind would have birthed them into existence. As Shufeng points out, once you follow that logic all the way to the end, it becomes totally ridiculous.
So how does it actually work? Let's look at Section 5, the two-way interaction between consciousness and reality.
Let's bring it back to those relatable analogies. On one hand, we have the mobile phone. If you lived completely isolated in a forest and had never ever seen a smartphone, it wouldn't exist in your consciousness. When someone hands you one, it enters your mind because it was projected by its creators. It's their projection, not yours. On the flip side, we have the dog poop on the sidewalk. Now, whether you're actively thinking about dog poop or not, it's there. It's an objective reality. And honestly, it's the physical, objective existence of that dog poop that forces the concept into your consciousness the second you step in it. Reality informs the mind, just as much as the mind informs reality.
What we're learning here is a super vital lesson about how we consume philosophy. Theories and spiritual tools only work under specific conditions and in specific environments. Shufeng wisely cautions us that if you take a concept meant for inward self-reflection and you violently apply it to all external objective truths, that truth instantly distorts into a falsehood. Context is absolutely crucial. It's the guardrail of wisdom.
So, we have to reject these rigid extremes entirely. We have to toss out pure idealism, the belief that only the mind exists and everything else is just an illusion. And we also have to toss out pure materialism, the idea that consciousness is just some meaningless byproduct of physical matter. Clinging to either of these extremes completely warps our understanding of the universe. They're fundamental errors that blind us to how life actually works.
And that brings us to a beautifully synthesized truth from Zhu Feng to close out this explainer. Consciousness creates reality, and reality reacts upon consciousness. It is two-way, not one-way. It's this dynamic, continuous dance. You are absolutely contributing to the collective reality through your attitude and your actions, for sure. But the objective shared world is also actively shaping you right back. So, as you go about your day, I'll leave you with this. What kind of energy are you actively projecting into our shared world? And what objective realities are you allowing to shape your inner mind? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep exploring.